Starfield's biggest expansion yet just dropped. And yet, because you know there's gonna be more, Starfield at the end of the day is an IGN 9 out of 10. Right there next to amazing things like Dragon Age, the Whale God that I'm sure everyone played, obviously. In any case, this Starfield expansion is massive. I already forgot its name, but it's absolutely massive. So massive, in fact, the player count just almost quadrupled, okay? Well, that would be impressive if Starfield's player count was not one of the deadest things in the universe. Right there next to your love life, by the way. And yes, it is that bad. From 6K, almost, concurrent players, which is a 99.5% player drop, by the way, if anyone's wondering. Yes, Starfield is atrocious. To a whopping almost 18K-ish new peak player concurrent new patch release thing. It's horrible. It's needless to say horrible. No one likes Starfield. No one wanted Starfield. Todd's dreams from when he was a child are crumbling, and I'm loving it. Okay? I'm loving it. Every time Todd stubs his pinky, I am right there. I am right there emotionally draining him. Oh, I love it. Everything bad happening to Bethesda makes my day better.
Well, everyone, today's the day. It looks like it is our final video on Starfield, probably ever, because I think this
is just the start.
Marks the last big update for the game. So I am here ready to go through it. In case you're not familiar, today is a big day for Starfield. It launches on PlayStation 5, and they also
I'm sure PlayStation 5 will absolutely obviously save Starfield. The PlayStation fans are in the billions, obviously.
Bringing two big updates in addition to that: the Free Lanes update and the Terran Armada DLC. Now, notably, the Terran Armada DLC is not being advertised as an expansion, but rather as a story DLC, which to me would make...
That's already, by the way, minimizing damage, because the last time they advertised an expansion, it was Shattered Space, House Varun, and everyone hated it. Needless to say, everyone probably hates this already.
Me think, along with its roughly $10 price tag, it makes me think that probably this is more of like a mission, like an extended mission, than it is an actual expansion, which you know, I can't really blame them. Last time they tried an expansion with Shattered Space, it didn't do too well, and even though it was labeled an expansion, it was about 5 hours long of core story content, maybe another 5 hours if you did every single little bitty thing that the DLC had to offer. But this time around, they're framing...
Isn't 5 hours a lie? Wasn't it like 3 hours? Didn't people finish it in 2?
...it differently as just a like DLC. Now, I actually already filmed this entire video once already. I filmed it, but I had to redo it because this DLC, the Terran Armada DLC, didn't unlock for me or a bunch of other people for hours. It was kind of bizarre. And I looked it up, and a bunch of other people were having the same problem, where basically if you had the premium edition of the game from back at launch,
Bethesda can't even put their game in the store in the right time. That is amazing, okay? One thing is just introducing bugs that have not existed for decades because you're a bunch of losers, aka ruining Skyrim yet again. But a different thing is just not even being able to launch the game so people can log into it. That is just a new type of low. I am honestly not really surprised per se. I kind of expected this type of stuff from Bethesda, considering how talentless they are at this point. But man, it just hits different that... Well, we're honestly talking about a company that didn't actually have their microtransaction shops working for literally months on end, and no other AAA game has ever managed to mess up their microtransaction shops.
Supposed to get the Terran Armada DLC included, but for many people it was not included with Steam's like system, so it wasn't showing up, wouldn't install, was trying to get you to buy it again. It was a whole thing, but we were able to sort it out with a lot of restarts, and I'm sure they did something on the back end to deal with it. But here we are now in the DLC, ready to go. Now, my goal with this video is to show you what's new and to also talk about the long-lasting legacy of Starfield, because This
Oh, we're gonna watch so many story videos. I want to know how bad this is, how stupid it is.
is probably, like I said, the last time that we talk about the game. I expect that this is probably the final like big budget thing they do for the game. So I think it's where we leave it off, because after this, it's going to be all eyes on Elder Scrolls 6, which is going to be fascinating to see. So I'm going to buckle in. I'm going to take off the Starfield coat because it's freaking heavy and hot. It's not that comfy, shocker. But I appreciate them sending it back at launch. And I'll be honest, a couple of the things that they've added are legitimately cool. So for example, there's one new system that they've added, which is called cruise mode. So if you hold down T, you can see now we can...
Oh, system as a not star system. I get it, Lukey Poo. It's okay, it's
actually
okay.
warp at much faster speeds than before.
Wow.
Flying around the planet. It's no longer just like a 2D representation, which is what it was before. You still can't fly, of course, straight down to the planet's surface, but you can get going way faster. So you can navigate these areas you previously used to have to just like fast travel to. You can now
God, I love this look at this.
do that pretty much seamlessly by just going straight over here. And as you can see, we've arrived. We overblew it. Oops. Okay. Hold on. Turn around, beep, beep, beep. Okay, there it is. We'll go in a little bit slower. There we go.
Oh, don't.
Sensor contact orbital deceleration. Okay, that's fine. And here we are at the ship to start the DLC, which is legitimately, I think...
Oh, I did not know this. This explains so much. So this is a mini loading screen. Look at this. This is a mini loading screen. He overshot it, then he was okay. Look, he overshot it. You know, look.
Beep, beep, beep. Oh,
See?
okay, there.
Can't
There
see
it is.
shit.
We'll go in a little bit slower. There we go. Sensor contact orbital deceleration. Okay, that's...
And then it is. Then it's magically just in front of you. They just added mini loading screens instead of big loading screens. This is amazing.
Fine. And here we are at the ship to start the DLC, which is
Oh boy,
legitimately, I think, a cool addition. They've also added it so while you're in cruise mode, you can like get up from the ship and walk around, and so you can talk to your companions and do whatever you need to
yes, talk to the companions that are more dry than a drywall.
do while even traveling through space, which is legitimately kind of cool. But I think for most people, it's going to be like a cool quality of life improvement, kind of like the rover, where it makes the game better.
No one's ever gonna deal with this shit, by the way. That's the funny part. No one's ever gonna actually do any of this, because this only works in a system around a star, and no quests ever happen in the same system. So this is useless.
But it doesn't fundamentally change the game. That's kind of what this is. One of the things that was rumored to be added to the game for, at this point, a year and a half since the last expansion was, of course, going to be some sort of clever cover for the load screens when you go from a planet's atmosphere down to its surface. This would basically have worked very similarly to how Star Wars Outlaws works, where you go from the planet's atmosphere.
Star Wars Outlaws is not a good example. No one likes Star Wars Outlaws as a game, and no one really liked this transition screen because it was obviously a loading screen.
And then you select
But a little bit more interesting than your average loading screen.
the place that you want to land, and the ship cleverly glides right into cloud cover, and it
Cleverly glitches through clouds.
flashes the screen white, and it's covering up a load screen but allows you to go seamlessly, at least it appears, down to the planet's surface. It does a really good job of covering up the load screen that is happening in the background. People thought that's what
This looks so bad, by the way. This looks so fucking bad.
they were adding with Starfield. It was rumored and discussed online for, like I said, like a year and a half, that was one of the things they were targeting, and it's just not here. And so I don't know if they were working on it and couldn't get it working fully, and so they just cut it. I don't know if that was never in the books and people were just mistaken, but either way, it's not there. And I don't know if it makes that big of a deal to people who really like Starfield, but it's not here. So when you want to land on a planet's surface, you do still have to sit through a load screen to do it. But now you can navigate within a solar system without having to go through load screens. You can still jump to them if you want to, but like you just saw, I was
Wait, so this fast travel system effectively is slower than the previous one, because because you're not actually skipping a loading screen. You still have Wait. Does this system actually not... Does this system actually not even remove a loading screen? Okay, so there's a loading screen when you get off the planet, right? And then there's a... Yes! No, oh no, wait, no. This is -1 loading screen. Okay, so previously the loading screens in Starfield worked like this. You get into your ship, there's an unskippable cutscene that you take off the planet, which is a loading screen. Then you choose where to fly, which is a loading screen. Then you're at the planet, and then you need to decide that you want to go down to the planet, which is another loading screen. Now you skip one of them. Because there's no loading screen from space to the other planet's space, so you technically skip that. But now you need to travel, and that's longer than a loading screen. So Bethesda removed one loading screen to make loading slower. That's amazing! That is absolutely amazing! Only Bethesda could be this low quality.
Traveling to this planet, Nirvana, and then I flew to this location without having to go through a load screen between. So it's better, but it's still not perfect, you know. It's better. But of course, probably the biggest thing for today is this new DLC that allegedly adds new content and a new faction basically to the game. It's only $10 and they're describing it as a story DLC. So we're gonna see what it's got to offer. Basically, you started by going to Aquila, you listen to a radio broadcast there, and then you go and travel here, you listen to this broadcast, and then it kicks off. Don't worry, in case you want to experience it for yourself, I will not show stories.
Wait, I want to see some fucking story elements. I just read. Okay, she's a big girl, but space is bigger. Yeah, that's some Emil Paglarino certified 10 out of 10 bangers right there, boys. And it's definitely been a challenge to canvas that. Yep, these are all Emil Paglarino certified 10 out of 10 bangers. Jesus Christ.
And then you go and travel here, you listen to this broadcast, and then it kicks off. Don't worry, in case you want to experience it for yourself, I will not show story spoilers if I can help it, but I'll...
Spoiler, no one wants to experience this.
Just forward through it for sake of protecting your interests in that case. Now, I guess I should give a little brief background with my my stance on Starfield as it is, because I talk about the game a lot, or I at least have. And it's because at my core, I am an old school BGS fan, like going back to the days of Skyrim and Fallout 3. You know, those were the golden era BGS games as far as I'm concerned. And so seeing the route they've taken in the last decade or so has really been frustrating to me and left me, and I think a lot of other players, disenfranchised, seeing the focus shift away from what I think they were good at and more towards these live service elements, things like paid mods, Fallout 76 and its live service offerings, and in my opinion, egregious monetization, things like that I think have undermined Bethesda's own creative interests. Like, we're even in a weird spot.
I think Bethesda undermined Bethesda
with like Starfield, where they have a financial incentive to sell paid mods to people that fix the game and provide additional content. And those are mods.
Well, again, that would be a reasonable take, if not for the fact that Bethesda made the microtransaction shop unusable for a lot of people for literally a month.
That they don't have to make themselves, and their community will make for them. So they basically have built a platform where they make more money if the game is more lacking in official content, because their audience will go and...
Okay, I honestly think this is giving Bethesda too much credit. I think this is just a side effect of whatever is happening, okay? Because Bethesda would never be capable of making anything of value.
Seek out additional content from their partners that they don't have to pay up front. And according to some like leaked documentation, it looks like Bethesda / Xbox takes potentially the lion's share of most of these paid mods that go through. There was one individual creator who spoke on condition of anonymity because he was breaking an NDA by talking about his revenue split on these paid mods, but he said that it was approximately 30% that he took home, and I believe it was 40% went to BGS and 30% went to Microsoft for like hosting the transaction, or to the platform holder if you bought it through Steam.
God damn.
Steam would take the 30%, but Bethesda/Xbox would make the majority of the money in those transactions, which is crazy. And so I've been really frustrated with the direction they've taken the company and their IP. And then I thought Starfield.
By the way, this probably is true. This is also a reason why not a lot, like pretty much all mod creators have kind of fucking given up on making stuff for Starfield because it's just not worth it. There is no player base. Literally, this game has, on a good day, 6K concurrent players, which is abysmal. It's fucking garbage, obviously. So, who the hell is gonna make mods for them? This is why they contacted, was it Kingat Creations? They paid them up front to make a mod. I think they're making a mod for Starfield or some other game. This is why they need to do it, because there is a concept of it being a job to make good mods for Bethesda games, but considering Bethesda games are so fucking shit and not worth the price to begin with, not a lot of people are playing them because they're just disappointments. People don't obviously want to wait for a mod to fix things. It's unacceptable. Okay, a mod fixing some issues is a good thing, obviously, but it's absolutely unacceptable that a game is unplayable without mods. And this is the case with pretty much anything that Bethesda does in the modern day. So, there's not going to be enough people for someone to create a job out of making actual good, high-quality mods.
As a game itself, was basically just a perfect, oh my god, I pressed T instead of R, damn it. That's what I get for having sausage fingers. Tell you what, don't Google that, by the way. It's a medical condition. Anyway, I've been frustrated with all of this. I just think that Starfield is a game that had a lot of clever ideas, like a lot of like cool concepts, but I think that BGS and the
thank God Luke is the king of fake posting, okay? Well, one of the kings of fake posting, at least. You gotta give him credit there. Thankfully, he will never actually explain what's good or bad about Starfield, because that would be too hard.
Creation Engine were probably the two worst matches for making this type of game. Like, I think that BGS is really good at handcrafted environments. Why am I taking contusions while sitting in a chair? What? I don't know. Who knows? But I think like BGS is good at handcrafted environments that they build that, you know, build on that.
No, they're not. They literally made Fallout 76. And Shattered Space was a handcrafted location. And everyone prefers the AI locations over the handcrafted ones because they're bad.
Sort of ADHD, ooh, piece of candy mentality of open world design. They're really good at it. It's why games like Fallout 4 and Fallout 3 and Skyrim are so fun to just get lost in. But Starfield is the polar opposite. It's procedurally generated, repeated locations. It's kind of soulless and lifeless once you get past a certain point and start to see the seams and how they've glued this thing together. And I think that that's why.
By the way, this is real gameplay. I am so bored they want to stop the video.
It frustrated me. In addition, I think that the Creation Engine as a tool set is just not very well equipped to make a game like this. Because
why? Do you know what the Creation Engine does? Do you know how it works? I don't. I think no one does.
It's built around individual little sets and rooms, and that's what it does. That's what it's good at. And it can function well in that regard in a game like, you know, a Skyrim, where when you enter a castle's grounds, you are naturally going to have a load screen. And I think people can put up with that. But where you run into trouble, of course, is when you try to make something the size of a galaxy. You start to run into problems like that, which are much more severe than I think BGS anticipated. And so what you end up with is Starfield, which is just technologically behind the curve, especially when you compare it to its competitors like No Man's Sky or Star Citizen. And narratively, it's kind of lame and uninteresting. The factions are basically just what you would expect to see in an Elder Scrolls or Fallout game, but with space helmets. And so
no, but worse.
like space pirates and space
None of these factions matter. The pirates, you do piratey stuff. They hate you for it. The good guys, you do bad things. They don't care. They forgive you for it. None of the factions have any merit. Okay? They can't even be called poor tier LARPers, honestly.
you know, the cowboys and space police officers, and it's just very, very uninspired, I think, and just kind of lame. But this DLC promises to add something fresh, something new. It seems like they are trying to do something a little different. They're bringing a new faction to the table with some new enemy.
But you can tell that they just figured out how to add openable doors into the game, because there's a lot of openable doors right there at the beginning. Bethesda, whenever they learn to do something new, they will always fucking slam it to the fullest, okay? Like, for example, this engine was a step up in the amount of garbage that you could, you know, diarrhea all over an interior or a place. And so they did. I mean, like, fucking look at this ship. I mean, look at this. Why do you have this thing? Why do you have that? Why do you have that? Why is that there? Like, explain to me, why is that fucking there? Why is this there? Why is that there? Why is everything just so cluttered with something? My God, can we not? Can we stop?
It seems like they are trying to do something a little different. They're bringing a new faction to the table with some new enemies.
And look at this, more boxes. Starfield is literally 99.9% boxes. Then the rest, 80% is ventilation of some kind, ACs and whatnot. 60% of Starfield is a fucking tarp. You know what? The only thing I'm surprised here about is the fact that we have not seen a tarp. Now, granted, we're probably going to see a tarp very soon, because there's no such thing as a Starfield interior without a tarp or two. But, I mean, damn.
Me types, and you know what, I'm here for it. But the last thing that I've been really frustrated by, and I've seen a lot of Bethesda fans talk about it too, is the drop in output and consistent quality. Like, it's been a major problem for them. Major problem. Like, for example, when they did the Fallout Anniversary update, they broke VATS, and it took them 19 months to patch it, which is insane. And you know, language gets thrown around a lot when people are like, something is unacceptable. That type of thing is unacceptable. I think that's approaching unacceptable. Like, the idea that you break your game, a core gameplay mechanic of your games, Fallout and VATS, is like pretty important. And it was so busted that it took them literally a year and a half.
Look at it, you're like, why? Look at how cluttered this is. What the fuck is, by the way, on the ceiling? What is the point of any of this?
Have to fix it, which is insane. And you pair that with other things, like the fact that this DLC took a year and a half to get. The cruise mode.
Now, you know what's the funniest part about Bethesda fixing things? Because I swear Bethesda does this intentionally, okay? I swear that Bethesda does this intentionally. They wait until Armada fixes the problem fully, and then they put out a patch that says that it fixes the problem, but it doesn't, and it breaks the mod. Because this always happens. Bethesda only patches something, and does it poorly, when someone has already, with talent, fixed the problem through a mod.
Is cool, but like, did that really need to take like 2.5 to 3 years to get out since launch? I mean, you compare it to some other studios like Pearl Abyss and what they've been doing with Crimson Desert, where players complain.
Oh, Luke watched my video. I because I spoke about this. I said that a minor Pearl Abyss patch is more stuff than Bethesda has done in Starfield in 2 years. And by the way, that's not a joke. That's not even an over-exaggeration. Your typical Bethesda first Starfield patch is nothing. It's like 3 lines of something that no one knows what it means.
About one thing, and it's fixed within like minutes. It's insane. It's just outrageous. And like I said in my review of Crimson Desert, you know, it makes it look like other studios are not even trying. It's why I pointed to BGS, because like, you know, I think gamers have gotten used to a certain cadence of updates, but it doesn't have to be that way. When you experience what a studio is able to do when they have like some serious hustle, it changes things. I mean, it'll really blow you away, and that's what's happened with some of these recent studios showing what they're capable
Well, like, what the fuck is this, by the way? You're just opening doors and flipping switches to flip more switches and open more doors. What the hell?
of. It's absolutely mind-boggling, and I think it should be a wake-up call to like a BGS to take it up a notch and really, you know, try. But I guess this DLC, we'll see how hard they are trying. So far it's mostly just like busy work, go here, talk to this person.
I mean, this is not a tarp, but this is as close as we're gonna get. Maybe they're not gonna put a tarp inside a room.
Mostly just
Watch.
like busy work, go here.
Okay, see? If it's not a tarp, it's gonna be a plasticky fucking liquid pipe or something like that. Look. And what's the point of this?
Here, talk to this person.
I don't know. I don't know. It connects to a machine here. Like, why? Why can't the pipe be under the fucking, you know, floor or something? Why? Like, nothing. Like, whoever designed these things is retarded, flat out.
Person, not even talk to this person, listen to a radio broadcast, put this item in this slot, and then keep walking. Like, there's not really anything narratively happening despite there being dead bodies everywhere, so that's not good. But you know what I don't
Yeah, this is boring. Also, that is definitely not a position you want your spine in. Not good.
So that's not good. But you know what? I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch. I want to give the game and its new DLC a fair shot, because it's possible that this has
like, why do you have this in a stairwell? Why do you have this shit in a stairwell? How does this make sense?
New DLC a fair shot, because it's possible that this has a ton of content and we're all going to be blown away. Okay.
Oh, something happened. Ooh. Wow.
Okay. That's not good. Okay. A unique little set piece framing with unique sound effects tied to it. That's good. Oh, I didn't even see him there. You know, I realized as I'm talking about
Yeah, the Terminator Salvation fucking music.
all of this, I'm like, I'm kind of surprised, because it's like, you know, I think for certain studios you demand and expect different things. So for like BGS, we have certain standards.
Wait, you know what's the standard of BGS? The fact that the robots are not even unique frame meshes. They're just fucking human frame meshes.
And expectations for what they do, and for other studios we might have different standards and different expectations, and so our opinions of what they need to do to impress us shift and change as time goes by. And this is one of those times where I'm like, oh, I saw a character walking by, or a robot guy walking by and shooting somebody, and then a loud sound triggered when he shot the NPC, and I was like, ooh, that's cinematic.
My favorite meme, by the way, is giving robots fucking guns that they can use and making them human guns. Not just doing the obvious, simple thing of attaching it by default to the robot.
But like, if we look at so many other studios, that's like the barest of the bare minimum. You know, but I'm so used to like playing a game like Starfield and just being like, oh yeah, no, I mean, it's pretty barely serviceable. It's not great. And so to see something like that,
I will also remind everyone that Luke's initially called Starfield a good game.
like, wow, that's crazy. But I want to touch on that and just be like, I think it's normal for there to be sort of double standards for different games. I'm not saying it's ideal or good, but I think that's normal, because there's some types of games or some IP. Ooh, X-Tech. We'll talk about this in a second.
What is happening with that leg?
There's some games or some IP where even if the game is not a masterpiece, you'll still have a good time, right? Like if I'm playing a remake...
Okay, this is literally a masterpiece, though.
...of Stronghold Crusader from like the 90s.
This is a masterpiece.
Playing Red Faction Remastered or something, I'm gonna like that, even if comparatively it's not like on the same quality level as a bunch of other stuff, because I have a bias towards that IP. Same if I play like a game set in ancient Egypt. Full disclosure, I'm biased. I have a pyramid behind me. I love ancient Egypt. I find it fascinating. I'm biased towards that, it's going to get extra points. So I'll have a double standard for that game or studio making that type of game, right? So I think that's normal. But the point is that that standard has to be justified by something else making up for the shortcoming, right? So like if there's a game like a Starfield or a Fallout or Elder Scrolls, it's okay if it's not technologically cream of the crop if it makes up for it in amazing exploration. Just like Crimson Desert.
But it doesn't.
It's okay if the story isn't fantastic if the open world adventuring is phenomenal. So you may end up with like a double standard when it comes to the story, where one game you demand a better story than the other, but it's justified because the gameplay makes up for the story lacking, or maybe the story's so good it doesn't matter if the gameplay is fantastic. You know, like I think there's always got to be some balancing act, even if your standard for one aspect of a game is different. For BGS games more recently though, I feel as though we've seen degradation in quality, but we haven't seen that counterbalance. So we've seen things like gore removed from a game like Starfield, but we haven't seen that counterbalanced with like really high quality cutscenes or really good facial animations or amazing writing.
You don't counterbalance these things. Gore being removed from Starfield is just a negative. You don't counterbalance that with anything. You don't call something better because it chose to remove things. Good things that people liked. This is not how you get better games, by counterbalancing something. No, I want a game that has gore and has the new stuff in it. That's what I want. That's what everyone wants.
Or gameplay systems that blow us away and amazing exploration. It's just been all downside and things being stripped out while everything else continues to degrade as well. But having said that, let's set that aside for now and talk about X-Tech real quick. X-Tech is a new material they added to the game with this DLC that is specifically for like end game upgrades. Again, it's targeting people who are already fans of Starfield and want like something to get another few dozen hours.
I love how they just call it fucking X-Tech, because this is literally as far as their imaginations go
out of, and that's what this is. It's a material that, as you can see, is used for crafting enhancements to your gear and ship, and that's what it is. So if you're wondering what that is, that's what it is. It's an end game material they've added, which I think is good. You know, if you're trying to build out an end game mode and like serve your longtime fans who have been with you since the beginning, it makes sense to give them something like that. It's not going to convince somebody who doesn't like Starfield to all of a sudden love Starfield, but it is going to give the people that do like it a little something extra. One of the things they also said was like key to this DLC was that they were adding in like old world looking ballistic rifles that are inspired by like AR-15s and stuff. Like,
oh boy, are we gonna get more Fallout 4 retarded guns?
They fire fine. They're not better than what you will have by the point you're doing this DLC in the game. Like, to start this DLC, they want you to be level 50, and honestly, it controls kind of identically.
Jesus Christ, that's a lot.
To the other weapons I already have that I've like really taken care of and like really farmed out. So I just,
what's he even pulling fucking back there?
taken care of the other weapons I already have that I've like really taken care of.
Oh, that. The thing that didn't move when it shot. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
And like really farmed out. So I don't think they are going to replace anything, but better late than never, I guess. Like compared to a kitted out Beowulf, I don't think anything's gonna beat that. Like, yeah, technically it's a new weapon, it's good to have, but I don't think it will practically make a difference for players by this point in the game, you know?
By the way, that's a strong enemy, and they're all bullet sponges that get stun locked.
I don't think they'll care. The game does still have the problems with like bullet sponge enemies where they just have like 2 or 3 health bars stacked up, but they did bring something new to the table with this DLC, specifically with like enemy resistances and certain specific perks for them. So let's see if I can find another enemy to show you. Here, take the ID, swipe that, okay, go through the door. So like,
I love how this, by the way, constitutes as a puzzle for modern Bethesda standards. A door unlocked, need ID card, corpse right next to it, magically has the exact right ID card. It does not get more Bethesda than that.
when I find a high level Terran Armada soldier or whatever you want to call them, you'll see that they have a few different like tags, these little like circles underneath their health bar, and those actually specifically relate to abilities or resistances and things that they have that could specifically counter certain things that you're doing, which is a genuinely cool concept and cool idea. So far, I haven't
but it doesn't do anything in reality.
noticed a need to like change tactics or anything. You just still end up filling them with lead, and so it doesn't really change a lot. But I do think it's a cool idea. It's a cool concept, and it's one I want to see.
Yes, and thankfully in the modern day, we give out trophies to concepts that didn't really do shit, but I mean, it could have been good, but I mean, you didn't really try to make it good, but you know, you know, at least you thought that something could be potentially fun, maybe. And that's what you get the trophy for. Not really making anything better, but you know, just vaguely attempting something.
More of, so maybe later in the DLC we'll find something really novel and crazy. Let's see. Look at this. You know what's about to happen?
No?
What's up, dude?
Why the fuck does the robot look like a printer?
Delta.
Initializing.
Right there.
Current frame. Registered as Terran. Aggression levels. Elevated. Evaluating adversarial response.
Okay, we're all friends. I know I just killed a lot of your robot.
Oh boy, it's Bethesda writing. Oh boy. Also, by the way, the fact that the robot thinks you're a threat and it's like, I'm gonna tell you that you're a threat so you can take action before me. Okay, let's read the things. We're all friends here. I'm not an enemy. Yep, that seems like a reasonable thing to say to a robot. One wrong move and I'm shutting you down again. Aggression levels. Should I be worried? Oh yeah. This is patented Emil slop.
Okay, we're all friends. I know I just killed a lot of your robot friends, but we're enemies. We're not enemies.
Accepted.
Freudian slip.
Relations, primary and secondary. Classification. Enemy. Status pending. Aggression protocols. Deferred.
Okay.
Control routed to processor.
Okay.
But does any of that mean anything?
You take orders from me now.
Evaluating speech. Tone. Not approved. Orders not yours to dictate. Attempts to override will be met with hostility. Continuing analysis.
Okay.
But like, how did we even get here? What the fuck was the point of this?
A more general
Now, obviously, that's a companion, but still, it's stupid.
sci-fi trope that I find annoying is when robots talk like a
Like it or not, we need to find a way out of here. Maybe we got off on the wrong foot. Let's start. Let's work together on this. What exactly are you analyzing? Are we just another one of those Terrans? Like what the fuck?
robot written in the 1970s.
Dude, Starfield is unique and amazing in the sense that it is the first Bethesda game. Even 76 didn't have this this high of a problem. It's the fact that I'm not saying anything new here. People already have figured this out. People have said this before me, but I have also said this many, many times, and it's true. In Starfield, the same way actually as in the Outer Worlds 2, you don't want to press any dialogue option because you would never choose any of this. You would never honestly say anything even remotely close to what is being offered here. Like, would you choose any of this? No.
You know, like, I get it. It's like the stereotypical robot analyzing options, deciding not to freak out, anger initiated. Like, I get it. That's kind of like the 70s archetype. But I just, it drives me crazy. It drives me crazy in like old school movies and sci-fi and in stuff like this, where I'm just like, dude, you're on a space station and like you're on spaceships with grav drive.
I'm not even sure who or what you are yet. Bro, it's a robot. What the fuck is that sentence? I don't do things for free. Yes, ask for credits from a fucking giant Roomba. A creator? You mean the one who made that chip? How can I be sure you're not working with the Terrans? Like, what is this?
Like, I think if anybody could figure out
This is the poorest attempt at roleplay I have ever seen in my life.
a decent LLM, it would be these guys, but whatever. But anyway, we now have a new companion at our side that we can use and navigate the systems with, which is cool. And look, he's fighting by our side. That's nice. Go team. Good Delta. Good Delta. Good boy. That's a good boy. AI is still not fantastic. I don't know what he's doing, but okay. He's just kind of standing there. Not a lot of advanced tactics taking place, despite being like militaristic robots. They're not that crazy. He's at least crouched behind something. That at least makes sense. I'll take it. But listen, regardless of whether this DLC is like amazing or
It's not gonna be amazing, Luke. I think you fucking know that. Anyway, that was Luke Steffens. I can't take this anymore. Have a nice day. Bye.